"Ah, but I am not a demon, I am not a goddess, I am a mere mortal. I know you can become a flowering tree, so do it." And they all gathered around her. "Oh, I shouldn't have come." She instructed them in the ritual, but the girls only half listened. And she said, "Please, please, just be careful. Don't break a branch, and don't tear a leaf." Right. So, but they just took the first vessel, and they splashed the water on her, and she only became half a tree. And the girls, they greedily grabbed all the flowers, tearing the leaves and breaking branches. And then the rain started to come in, so they just splashed the second vessel of water on her. And so when she became human, she was just a wounded carcass, her arms and legs just stumps, and she was just a thing. And they all ran off and left her there. And the rains poured down harder and harder until she was lodged and stuck into a gutter and floated downstream for a little while until she again got stuck. And she lay there as the rains continued to pour down on her. And there she lay for days on end. Now, some cotton wagons did come by. The first one heard some moaning and thought it was a ghost and hurried on. The second one heard it too, but hurried on even faster. Third one didn't even want to think about it. The fourth one, whoa, saw something. And, it's a woman and a thing, and has such a beautiful face. He picked up a cloth and covered her up and picked her up and put her in the wagon and carried on a little way until they came to a ruined pavilion. He stopped again and took the thing and laid it on the ruined pavilion and said, somebody should find you here. I hope you'll be okay. And he continued on. Now that ruined pavilion was at the palace of the prince's older sister, the queen. And one day her maidens came down from the palace, the hill, to come and play. And then they, look, this poor thing, what is it? Why, she has the face like a king's daughter. They took pity on it and they picked it up and brought it back to the palace. And they asked the queen, "Oh, please, may we keep her?" "Oh, that thing, do we have to feed it?" "Oh, it won't be any trouble, really." "All right." And so the maidens, they very gently took the thing and they cleaned her all up. They put medicated oils on her stumps. They combed her hair and put on a little sari and very gently fed her. Although she wouldn't speak a word, although they tried. A long time passed like that. Now the prince, when he discovered that his wife never returned, he was devastated. He waited and waited. She never returned. Finally, he could bear it no longer, and he knew he had to go find her. He took off his royal robes, and he put on the robe of an ascetic, and he walked outside the kingdom's gates and vowed that he would never return until he found his beloved. He searched from town to town, every face. He couldn't find her. Everywhere, every town. And his grief grew greater and greater. His beard long and his eyes became wild, stricken without his beloved. He wandered for months this way, until he found himself outside of his older sister's palace. And the maidens once again said, "Oh, dear queen, there's an ascetic outside the gates, and he looks a lot like your missing brother." "My brother? Oh, well, send him in at once." Then they brought him in and sat him down, and he had that wild look on his face. It's me, your sister. What's wrong with you? Why won't you speak? Wake up." He just looked off, dazed. Why, she sent in the finest physicians. Every single night she paraded a fine maiden in front of him to entice him. He didn't move. "What can be done? I've done everything," the queen said. And the maiden said, "Ah, Queen, you've tried everything. Why don't we try the thing?" "Oh, it's ridiculous, that disgusting thing. It may be your only hope." "Very well, I'll do anything for my brother." So that night, the prince, he slept in his bed. And they very gently, they brought the thing, lay it next to the prince. And as the thing, she lie next to her husband, she began to very gently stroke his leg. And the prince, he stirred. And he looked toward his wife. "My beloved, is it really you?" She looked at him. She said, "Yes." "Oh, my beloved, what has happened to you?" And she told him everything. He said, "How can I help you? Shall we do the ritual? Can we restore you? Do you think it will work?" "We can try." And so she instructed him again in the ritual. And she said, "Wherever you find a broken branch, please set it straight. Wherever there is a torn leaf, please mend it." So he poured the first water over her after she meditated on God and said the mantras over the water. And very lovingly, he took every branch and set it straight. And very lovingly, every single leaf he mended until she was a full, flowering tree. He poured the second vessel of water over her, and she became herself again, whole and restored, and she fell at her husband's feet. He picked her up and said, "Oh, my beloved, you are finally here with me again." And they embraced, and again they made love that evening. And the next morning, the queen was so happy to have her brother back. "Ah, you are healed. Ah, and our missing sister-in-law, you are restored too. You are here." They had a fantastic celebration with feasts and food. And finally, after many days, they sent them back to the king and queen's palace with many fine gifts. And when they returned to the palace, they too were received with great celebration. They told what had happened with the younger sister, and you know what they do in fairy tales, something with lime and burning tar and pits, what they did with that younger sister. And then they had a huge procession with elephants to celebrate the return of the prince and his wife, who could become a flowering